Welcome back, adventurers, to session 4 of our ongoing journey into the Dragon's Delve, a dungeon of danger, mystery and ancient power. Our heroes press deeper into the labyrinth's twisting corridors, facing new perils and uncovering secrets long buried beneath the earth. So grab your dice, ready your spells, and join us once more as we descend into the Dragon's Delve.
I redid the spell cards, and all the 0th level cantrips are available now. I haven't done the first level ones yet. All the ones you had already selected. So, if I remember rightly, I decided to camp in this room here.
Yep.
I'm not quite sure have you intended to camp the entire night there.
It was a retirement for spells and healing, I think.
Points.
Yeah.
Or we set watches and all sorts. So.
That's going to be another day, isn't it? So I'm going to want another lot of food from you lot. 5 days worth of food.
You're going to need some purified waters at some point.
I'm assuming you're going to have some oil running during that time.
I think we went down to just one candle. So we can take oil for now, but...
How long does the light last for? Light cantrip.
Half an hour. It's useful while you're exploring, but not for long periods.
Not half an hour per level.
No.
Is 10 minutes.
10 minutes level.
I would think 16 hours worth of oil is probably reasonable. Probably turn the wick right down. So yeah, that will get you to your current supplies. You currently have 8 times 6 hours worth of.
Yeah, we're not far from daylight. We could always retire upstairs.
We good.
Got several man days worth of food left. So Pete's got some and Tim's got some. Everyone's got a few of their own, and the party kitty's got quite a few. So yeah, you could quite easily stay the night here and recover. Is anyone actually hurt?
Yeah.
Anyone with a healing skill can make a healing check. If you can make a 15, then you can get 4 times your level back.
I have got a 3 in it. Anyone got any better?
Anyone with a healing kit, I think, gets +2.
Yeah, +2.
There was a healing kit going around.
Yeah, we use that on me. I'm not sure how much you can use it.
10 usages in it.
2 down, which would be nice, but I think sleep might help a bit.
Who else needs healing?
I'm fine, Pete.
I think I'm fine.
Oh, we can do a heal on you as well.
If it's not going to leave you knackered, and
No, because it's not a spell, it's a skill. So.
in which case, yes, change the bandages.
Do you want me to roll the skill then? If I've got best healing?
Yeah.
I got a 10.
Not enough.
It's not enough, even with +2 from the healing kit. Who was that for?
Me.
You'll only get twice your level back.
Which is enough. And then if you do...
Twice my level is perfect, yeah. Assuming my level for that purpose is 2.
It is.
In fact, even if it was 1, that would be enough. Perfect. Thank you very much for your assistance.
For Pete.
Sorry, how much for me?
I rolled a 21.
So you get 4 times your level back for the night's rest.
8 hit points then.
Yeah. And then anybody else? They've effectively wandered around the dungeon for an hour and a bit, and now they've rested.
Because we're a bunch of incompetents who can't survive 2 pussycats.
Is Wolf still hurt?
Yes.
How much are you down?
6.
Morning. Does anyone have any spells left?
No cure spells left.
I had a couple, but I think we used up a last cantrips on mending.
Yeah, but you've got no healing magic, Howard.
No, I've got no healing.
Did Lorimal have any healing magic left?
Because basically we're tapped out of all magic.
This morning, effectively, you need to set your spells and then heal Wolf.
It is a scratch.
Use 1 first level spell. And heal you for...
Well, if you insist.
Okay.
7 points.
Yep.
Lovely. Thank you. You know, what I've heard about elves, I think I must have been wrong.
Nah, you're right about elves. I'm just weird. I have sideburns, you know.
He's a Scottish elf.
You're a hilt elf or something like that.
That's very flouncy hair for you as well.
It is huge hair.
Excellent hair.
Basically, are in this place for nearly 20 odd hours.
Oh, I'm bored now. Let's go kill something.
I'm assuming you've probably kept the little windows open to occasionally look out.
Definitely.
The place is completely silent. There is not a movement in the entire time.
Kind of good to know.
Did we kill off the entire level?
No,
One hopes not.
in that we've still got Beholder, we've got a couple of doors, and we've got areas outside here that we haven't really explored at all yet. So we should do that.
Definitely. Should we go and explore that big magical beholder thing? We kind of saw it when Eek and ran away, but now we're at our best. It's quite interesting. Biggest magicalist thing, and
Well, we're over this side of the dungeon at the moment, so we might as well carry on over here.
okay, we'll do it all in the end.
Yeah, we will.
Happy to do. There's a random walk around.
There's some stairs nearby, I see.
I'm assuming you all come out.
Yep.
Basically, there's a narrow stairs going up to this raised area.
That one first, because it's closest.
Wander up there, have a poke around. Doubt there's anything up here because, it's been quiet.
There might be treasure.
Bound to be.
The balcony is 20 feet high, reached by a narrow set of stairs. There were 3 dark and black corpses in the middle. Okay, so somewhere there-ish.
They didn't move over the last 24 hours.
Certainly not. You haven't set off the trap yet, Tim.
No, and I don't intend to. That's what we've got a thief for.
Anyone going up these stairs?
Yep.
Oh, just because it's a lockable room and fairly secure, can we leave the mule in here while we're mucking around?
The problem is we have to be in the room to lock it.
It's barred on the inside.
It's not going to get out, and it just means it won't wander. It can't wander around.
Yes, you could put it in this room. I would imagine if you barred that one
Yeah.
And then we'll use the other one.
and just kind of put the door closed.
Keep the dark, they go to sleep.
So, Wolf, you come up here. Place is mostly empty. There's virtually nothing there. You spot some old broken arrows, basically piled up in a corner.
How many? And are they any good? I will follow Wolf up there.
12 broken old arrows.
I'll have a look. Could I fix those with a men's spell?
You probably could fix a couple of them with the men's spell, yeah.
Pick up a bow or something.
We did. Who has the bow? Is it Wolf or is it Lomeril?
I didn't bother. I've got an axe to throw.
So the bow might actually be on the back of the.
Okay.
No one actually wanted specifically to have one.
I think we had 10 arrows, so we've now got 12.
What I mean, Howard, is you can repair 2 arrows with 1 men's spell.
Okay, in which case I'll take them all. If I can repair them, I shall take them all.
Is there anything else further down?
There's weird-looking stains, but nothing specific.
Is it blood?
Could be a large pool of what was once blood, yes.
Does this pool of blood seems to come from anything that's obvious, like a dead body?
No, not blood now. It's black kind of stain. Looks a bit like it might be blood once.
Something horrible happens here.
It's a dungeon. Something horrible happened everywhere. And we've done half of it, so don't get stuck about it.
Crikey, I just said something horrible happened here. Somebody got out of bed the wrong side this morning. I'll sing you to sleep tonight to make sure you have a good night's sleep.
Masterwork bedroll.
Yes.
So look for anything else at all vaguely interesting around here. Spend another minute or so, then wander back down.
I'll search the area too.
Go around the edge. Nope, nothing's observed.
All right, let's go and check out those dead bodies in the centre of the room.
I will go round. Unless Lomeril or Jestix actually want to do anything, I'm going to go up those other stairs.
Well, I was going to go and look at the bodies. Are they humanoid?
Yes. Got the corpses of 3 individuals that look like they've been burned a bit.
Burned a bit or burned a lot?
Burned a lot, like somebody maybe dropped a fireball spell on them or something like that.
Mr. Lomeril, would you care to accompany me up to this other balcony?
Are you just standing over the bodies looking at them, or are you picking a sword up and poking them, or are you...
At the moment, I'm just looking at them.
Grubby little mitts in them?
Not getting my grubby little mitts in them, but at the moment, I'm just looking at them.
You can roll a search roll, but it'll be a negative because basically you're just looking at it.
Yep.
I'll search roll as well, since
Yes, if you're standing there.
I'm really rubbish at search.
Dave, whilst they're searching the bodies, I will go up the stairs and start exploring up here, with a degree more caution than the lads do.
Search.
12.
There is a book, crusty old kind of book, lying those doors.
That might explain the strange stains.
The searching.
I got a 12.
Sorry, what was the search rolls from Jestix and from Wolf?
12.
And 3.
Okay, Jestix. There is, underneath one of the bodies, you think, still a leather satchel bag. Not been damaged by whatever
Incinerated them.
exploded and incinerated on them and destroyed everything on the top of them.
Well, I will attempt to leave it out with my staff.
Okay, yes, it's still attached to the body, but you can drag out a foot by foot leather satchel bag, with a strap around a neck sort of thing.
Okay, once I've got it out far enough, I'll attempt to lever it off the arm or have the arm fall off.
It basically disintegrates the body, yes, as you yank it. As you yank it, some things clank together inside.
Aha.
Sounds promising. I watch from over the balcony.
Or ominous.
Glass clanking or metal clanking?
glass flanking.
Open the satchel carefully.
There is 2 smallish glass bottles.
Excellent.
Have they got labels saying pure or something?
No.
Anything else in the satchel apart from the 2 glass vials?
Bits of string and stuff like that.
Do the glass vials look like oil vials or potion vials?
They're bigger than potion vials. They hold nearly half a pint.
So it could be, given the incinerated state, it could be napalm.
Could be something like that. Are you going to shake it, or are you going to fluid? Try to figure out.
I won't shake it, but I will have a look at the fluid.
Transparent, watery looking.
Good. Is it?
Has no smell.
Happy to have a look at it later if you want.
Okay, we'll stop it back up and put it in my pack for later investigation.
Okay, I like a fortitude saving roll as well.
That should be fairly fortitudinous.
So how much do you make by himself?
18.
You don't feel any different. Okay, so there's a book basically lying on the floor there.
I'll go and investigate the book, but I'll have a look at this wall just in case. Is that a double door up ahead of me?
These double doors are covered in bronze faces, hammered bronze metal faces on them. They're very large doors.
Anything else along that wall? I did try and search along it.
You can roll me a search roll.
16.
Find nothing.
I'm not going to bother taking 20 on that just for now. I examine this book closely.
It's a mouldy looking book. What languages can you read?
Gnomish, Elvish, Dwarven, and something else.
Yeah, okay. It's written in Inhuman Commons, but it's pretty archaic. They're religious prayer books, but very bad condition.
Hang on to them for now. In terms of religion, do I get any impression as to, oh great Yahweh? Is it Jarl Glittergold or anyone in particular?
Not Blitzgold.
I'm not at all religious, so
No idea what religion these books could be.
I go over to the balcony and say, Mr. Jestix,
I'm not a religious person. Maybe you should try the cleric who's standing beside you.
sorry, Mr. Lomeril, is this something that you could use?
Well, look, see if it's of any interest. Maybe it be enlightening you towards whatever religion was worshipped.
It's definitely a religious book. You can read it. What is your knowledge religion skill?
4.
4. You don't know without kind of sitting there and thinking about it for a while.
If you do find them useful, I could try to mend them for you. But if not, we'll use them for fuel on our next fire.
You pick it up, Pete. You just flick through it. Nothing springs out to you as it's the god of such and such. You'd have to basically spend some time searching through.
Okay, so next time they spend 3.5 hours searching a wall for secret doors, I'll start reading the book.
Yes, that's the sort.
Are you saying I'm too cautious? So, gentlemen, we've got a bloody great big bronze door here, or 3 doors over there. What are we in the mood for? I like bloody great big door. It's
Has a good ring to it.
Only if you eat it.
Whilst they all approach, I will a quick check for traps, and just to determine if it's locked.
You actually touching the door.
Not if I can avoid it, not touching it until I can check for traps. So I'd much rather not set the traps off. So traps first.
So where's this really great big door?
Near where she's standing.
Yeah, up on the balcony over here. The check for traps is a 16. So if they're even vaguely good traps, I won't have found them. Do I at least determine whether it's locked or not?
Yes. They don't seem to be trapped from your initial scan.
And is it locked?
There is no keyhole, and there's no pull either. There's nothing to pull on.
Does it open in or out? Is it just something we give a good shove to?
At one point, get within a foot or so of door.
Yep.
And there's a booming voice comes out, and the faces move.
Oh, excellent. Magical door. I jump back like a startled rabbit.
What did the voices say?
Bloody hell. A talking door. That's not something you see every day.
More fork or sheet, I hit the ground, and if you wait a beat, you can hear my roaring sound.
Lightning.
Doors visibly go clunk and start to move open.
There you go, gentlemen. I fall back and prepare to cover as the fighters of the party go to explore.
The largest room on the other side of this door, it's a funny kind of long T-shaped-ish room.
If Mr. Wolf, if there's nothing you can actually see, so if there's nothing going to attack us, I'm very happy to check it out. Just wander in. Doesn't seem to be too many traps around.
Wondering.
Elaborate room is dark. dark and quiet. Elaborate paintings cover the walls in faded abstract patterns. A large lantern hangs from an iron chain from the centre of the ceiling.
Is the lantern lit?
Nope, there's a large lantern hanging there on a chain, and it's kind of tied off at that corner there.
Yeah, we could try lighting
is it
it
lit?
and exploring. Well, if anyone else wants to go in before
Yes,
me, you're
definitely.
welcome. If not, I'm going to go and try and investigate how to lower that.
Yeah.
When-
I'll lead the way. You open the doors, and I'll wander through.
Yep.
Assuming that nothing instantly tries to kill me, I shall go up to where it's tied off. Did you say it was lit or not lit?
It's not lit. It's about a foot by a foot window paned lantern. Yes, there's four.
Quite spectacular.
It's quite big iron cast kind of thing, with ornate curly bits, and a big thick iron chain to lower it.
Lower
Well,
that down
with a
so that.
towel.
Lower it down.
Okay, if he lowers it down, I'll go and light it.
Okay. You've got a wick and place to put the oil. The glasses. You lift the glass up on one side to be able to fill it up, yeah? And you notice something kind of odd. It's like there's a second rung for another glass on each side.
I examine it very carefully then.
It's like you could slot in something else.
Like coloured glasses or lenses.
Yeah.
Or pictures.
For pictures.
That might be fun.
It burns relatively brightly. The glass on it is very clean, so the whole room lights up. See just an abstract mess of random colours and lines.
Okay, this I think will say something or do something once if we find the missing panes. My gnomish industry says we're looking for panes of glass, gentlemen, as well as obviously treasure and artworks.
Searching the room then.
Did you say that there were paintings in this room all around the walls?
All around the rooms is painted abstract, multicoloured patterns and stuff.
Oh, I see.
Start searching the room now that there's light. Chestix, are you and the fantastic Mr. Henry going to join us?
I'm not very good at searching.
Many eyes? You have in the past seen stuff? The donkey.
Freya, what sort of searching are you going to do?
Take 10.
So you're going to walk around the room taking 10, yeah?
If you guys don't mind the time, I'm quite keen to find these things.
Okay. You were +4, weren't you? Your search was +4, wasn't it?
My search is higher than that. My search is 5.
I'm going to take a more random nature and just sort of tap here and there as the interest suits me. So I'll just make some die rolls.
Make 3 die rolls.
Pretty much what I'll do. And Henry wander around following me.
Are you actually coming into this room, Jestix?
Yep.
Bit of a mixed bag there. I get a 15, a 20, and a 1.
I get a 17, a 7, and a 7.
None of you find anything.
Marginally disappointing. For such any secret doors, there's no other doors or exits.
The room is empty.
That just strikes me as unusual. Mind you, we're higher. We're up above the rest of.
No, it's bits of this level up and down all over the place.
Exactly, so that doesn't really matter. It wasn't ever built flat.
I did mention it, but this actually slopes down here.
It slopes down this way a little.
That corridor we came in from there slopes down. So this is actually, the big room is actually a bit lower than the rest of the...
Oh, okay.
So you're back up at the normal level here.
Well, this room which to find nothing.
We have found something. We just haven't found all of it.
We will have to come back when we find some glass bits.
Yes.
Well, I suggest we crack onto one of the other doors over there, then, guys.
It doesn't have to be glass, though. It could be cloth or something.
Yeah.
Let's put the lantern out. There's no point wasting the oil.
Good thinking. Put the lantern out, leave it down, and we crack on.
We've got 3 doors.
Closest one, I will go and check it out.
While he was taking 10 to search the room, did Pete get anything out of the book?
Can I have a knowledge religion, Pete?
I love the idea of the cleric sitting in the corner reading a book. That was an 18. My searching for traps on this door is rather better than previously.
You're going to go to this door. Sorry, Pete?
Yeah.
13.
13. No, Pete, you still don't recognise the text or so this door here, yeah?
25 on my detect traps.
The door is not trapped and seems locked to you.
Our first actual locked door. Guys, it's locked. If you feel like some violence, you can kick it in, or I can open it. I think this might be my first actual open lock. Open lock's only a 4. Not actually very good at that. 8 plus 4, 12. I don't know what the success rate of a lock is, but unless it's very simple, I cock up.
I think even a very simple lock is 15.
No, I can't do it quickly. I can take 20 if I need to, but quite frankly, you guys okay reading your books while I do this, or should we kick it in?
No, you do it.
Even a very simple lock is DC 20.
Do I think if I take 10 I can do it, or do I have to take 20?
Well, take 10 is just, I'm not going to bother about the trap. No, and you don't succeed.
Okay. I actually rolled that. But yeah, I will. It would have been a 19, but no, I take 10 and I don't succeed. Fuck it. Okay, guys. Sorry, Rolf. This one needs your subtlety.
Yeah, you can give that a proper go. All right, I'll try and shoulder check it then. Take a couple of steps back and charge towards it and fling myself at the door.
Roll your strength. I think it's just an ordinary break door roll.
Get a 9 on a strength roll.
That's not enough. I'm sure that's not enough.
I'll try again.
Simple doors are 13, good doors are 18, strong doors are 23.
I get an 18 on my third attempt.
Okay, the door is smashed off. Okay, you see a room in front of you, and in it there is a creature, if I remember.
Definitely knows we're coming.
Oh, yes, it knows you're coming.
We've been knocking on this door a bit.
It's probably thankful we're coming, if it's been stuck in this locked room.
Be quiet.
Too late.
Right, there is a room. This chamber is dark. Your light shines into it. Now you have smashed the door off, you can hear the clicking sound.
Of the trap going off.
A large kiln rests on the western wall. An empty coal bin sits next to it. A few rusty iron tools lay about the floor. The door to the eastern side is made of wood but covered in iron plates. Inhabitants. There is a large, monstrous scorpion.
Is it clacking its clackers aggressively?
Oh, yes. It's about to attack you.
How wide's
How
the
big
door?
is this?
How wide is the scorpion?
That's a good question. It takes up 10 foot, so it actually is quite a lot bigger than that.
Great, can't actually get out through the door.
No, it can't.
Don't go in, risk the sting, or we could just sit here and shoot it.
Unfortunately, what you can't do is close the door.
Yeah, there is that.
And it does rush towards the door and tries to get anyone.
Wouldn't whoever's trying to shoulder barge it be right next to the door?
Oh, that's a very good point, James. Well pointed out. I believe Wolf is shoulder barged the door down,
He's in the door.
and the scorpion does in fact ready to act, so it will have an attack against you.
It would have been waiting there for you.
Form of initiative is allowed, is it not?
Well, it was on hold, wasn't it?
Right. Well, you didn't know it was there until you broke down the door. So it had a surprise.
Well, yeah, true.
It gets one attack, Pete. It's going to claw you for a 25 to hit.
That's
That'll
it.
hurt.
Well, yeah, obviously.
9 points of damage.
Thank you. That hurt.
Goes clack, 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 and tries to get through the door, which is a squeeze fit, so
Well, you can get through the door next round.
you can try, yes.
I'm very keen to shoot it, as it's kind of locked in place, and take an aimed shot into.
Right, I think it is now time for initiatives.
Okay, if it was on hold, then it would go after us,
I
presumably.
think it goes just before. That's the whole rules, I think.
It's on hold, actually, before we did, but now we all get an action.
Yes, you will get an action, don't you?
13.
But you should still roll initiative.
Mine is a 6.
17.
Okay, so Freya was what?
6.
Wolf,
17.
Majestics,
13.
Loramil,
12.
and the critter will go on 16. Everyone gets one action, I think.
I'm going to take a withdraw action, Dave, and run away.
So, Pete, you're moving out of its attack range, aren't you?
I am. I'm taking withdraw action to move out.
And then it would be Wolf.
Now I'm going to make sure my weapon's readied.
Okay, and then it's the Scorpion. The Scorpion, I think, technically can go through the hole. It just takes its squeeze reaction, isn't it?
Which means I think they get tax opportunity.
I don't think they do get tax opportunity because they're not actually any close to it.
Might
Missile
slow it
weapon
down.
to shoot it.
It takes its full round to come through.
I'm going to shoot it as it can't dodge, I hope. I was waiting for something.
No, we weren't. He charged through, and then we went, oh, it's a scorpion. Panic.
Panic, panic, panic.
But before he charged through the door, we didn't say anything back from home, so we didn't bear anything.
So, Jestix is next.
Back off and prepare my bow is my usual tactic. I shall remember to say it every single time.
Well, no, you can just say, from now onwards, I am going to, when Wolf is about to charge down the door, I will be backing off and parrying, and it can be taken as read.
Yeah, even with just opening a door, when the fighters open the door, I back off and cover.
Perfectly reasonable. It goes through, it can't do anything because basically it took its whole round to get through, and Jestix goes next.
I move around the side to hit it with my staff next round.
And Lorimer,
I'll just hit it since it's
right next to you.
right in front of me. I get 23.
That is it.
I suppose long swords do the same damage whether big or small.
You didn't roll a 19 or 20 on the dice.
Exactly. 9 points of damage.
Okay, still with us. That was Lorimer. Freya at the end of the round.
I back off for 5 feet, or as
You do a 5-foot step.
I do a 5-foot step, and I shoot it for 11, which just goes ping off its shitness armor. Oh no, hang on. If I zoom in, when I hover over it, it says 20. When I look at it, it says 8.
I see a 20.
I see an 8 on that. Sorry, in which case it's a natural 20. It's a threat.
You roll again, and if you've hit, then you've critted it.
1.
No, it's a complete miss. So it was only a standard hit with my beloved crossbow, which will do a d6. There you go, maxed out. 6 points of damage with my crossbow.
Still with us. Back to the beginning of the round, Wolf.
Any idea how knackered this thing is looking? Is it limping badly?
Hardly affected.
Been hit 3 times?
Okay, I will rouse the spirits of everybody here and take a step forwards to provide
Flanking attack.
flanking, yeah.
Okay.
So everybody can get +1 from me, +1 to hit and damage, as well as flanking bonus for these two.
It's not a giant creature, is it?
No, it's large.
Oh, so you did a bardic thing, did you?
I did.
So that would be your action. So then it's the scorpion. There's like 3 different people to attack, isn't there? There are 3 people within its area.
And a dog.
And a dog, is true.
If it attacks a dog, it's getting colour sprayed.
Loramil.
I love that dog.
Loramil's the one that's hurt it, though, isn't it?
And me.
So 2 claws against Loramil. Oh dear, that's a 19. At least it's not a threat. 9 points of damage. And the other claw is a miss.
It's pumping out the damage there, boys.
Yes, the sting's going to go against Pete's character. Sting! With a 2. That was the sport. Jestix.
I will flurry of blows it.
Got the bardic thingy and you've got the flanking thingy.
What's attacking from the sides give me?
+2 for flanking.
So I get a 12, which is 12, so that's probably not enough.
No, but you've got multiple attacks, haven't you?
Yes, that's why I do it. And 22.
That's a hit. Do you have Kai in this?
No. 8 damage.
8 points of damage. That's unpleasant.
We're whittling it down.
Yep, it's still there though.
Also, my dog. Attack the dog, so the dog will attack you.
Okay, well it gets all of the same bonuses, doesn't it?
Yep, 22.
22 is a hit.
The 6 damage.
Still there. Loramil. It's staring at you with it.
14.
14 is a miss. And Freya.
I reload using my move action, and oh my goodness, I'm firing on all cylinders today. I believe that's another 20 rolled. Okay, let's see if I can get another 1 afterwards. 9 and +3, it would be 12.
13.
And you get the bardic thing.
Yeah, that was +1. 13.
Unfortunately, that is not enough.
I'm quite pleased with how accurate my shooting is today. That's another 4 points today.
Another 4 points of damage.
Yep.
Collapses and dies.
Don't worry, boys, I got this. I actually did pick up at one point some spare empty vials.
So you're going to attempt to get some scorpion venom.
Anyone object to me just to see if I can get some scorpion venom out?
Well, no, let's drag the thing out the doorway first, but yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Go for it.
I'll loot the body, you loot the room, and if you need me, give me a call.
Survival, was it?
Survival was what we used last time, yeah?
Or craft alchemy in this case.
Craft alchemy is what I was hoping to use.
Yes, use craft alchemy.
You don't have poison use, right?
No, so he's going to have a reflexes save as well.
I think it's a 10% chance if you're handling poison that you get poisoned yourself.
I put my gloves on and I'm prepared to go for it. I want to fill. I'm going to take 20 with a craft alchemy.
Actually, no, you don't want to take 20 because you will get a 1 with a take 20. That means you will poison yourself, sir.
Well, craft alchemy of 6. Take 10 is 16. Is this a more complicated job than a 16?
I would think you are still going to have your 1 in 10 chance.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's 1 in 10. I think it's 1 in 20 from memory. But
Not sure I followed the conversation. I understand that if I take 10, I have a 1 in 10 chance. If I take 20, I have a 1 in 20. Is that right?
When you do a take 20, Howard, it means you
It's an
automatically roll every single number. So you roll a 1, whether you liked it or not.
Okay, understood. Whereas a take 10, I don't get that chance, or I could just bloody roll it. 10 times.
Yeah.
I'm going to roll it 10 times until you tell me I have succeeded.
Actually, no, you don't have to roll it 10 times. That's slightly different. We take 10. That's just your average.
I will take 10, which at a plus 6.
Gives you 16.
Okay.
It's a 1 in 20 chance of accidental poisoning as well.
Okay, so I will roll the d20. If it comes up 1, you need to make a save. And it doesn't.
Okay, well, with extreme caution.
You've done it. And you haven't poisoned yourself. So what vials have you got?
There were some empty vials we picked up on the altar where they'd sacrificed the black dragon, and I picked up the empty vials in case they were useful.
Okay.
But I only want 2 vials.
Yeah, a vial is only an inch in size, so
I will try to get as much as I can.
it dries very quickly. This sort of stuff, unless you keep it in an airtight container, will be dead by the end of the day.
Which is why I'm putting it in an airtight container, if at all possible. Just checking my equipment. I've got some empty oil flasks, haven't I?
Yes, but they're not that empty. They are contaminated with oil.
Give them a quick wash out and hope. I'll take the 2 where I have good quality vials I will take, and then the rest I will put into an oil flask.
Okay.
Having attempted to clean it out as best as possible.
With your craft alchemy, you would know to try to create a wax stopper on the top.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you open them, we'll make some kind of roll to see whether they're still working or not.
Obviously, that's what the craft was for.
I am relatively good at this.
Yeah, okay. But even so, poisons like this degrade very quickly.
But even then, they are of alchemical interest, and I'm an alchemist. That's taking me ages. What's in the room?
A large kiln is on the western wall. An empty coal bin stands next to it. There's a few rusty iron tools laying around on the floor. There is a door to the east, which once has iron plates and a heavy lock long ago broken. The door hangs open slightly. There's the sign of basically a large scorpion creature flailed around in the room.
Trying to get out. It came in as a small scorpion creature and then couldn't get out again.
It could quite easily get up and down the corridor.
By the way, large scorpion venom does strength damage, and it's worth 200 gold pieces each.
Good to know. Thank you for the info.
I think you need to make a roll to apply it to a weapon, but also you know to get that money you're going to have to sell it back in the town.
Oh yeah, like almost everything else.
This room, guys, you were searching it. What sort of searching are we talking about?
Roll a dice searching.
Turning over things. Yeah, roll dice searching. Yeah.
Okay.
None of the systematic stuff.
Make some roll.
We're amateurs. We don't systematically search.
Just one.
6.
I think it takes either a move action or a regular action to apply poison.
15.
Oh, it's injury poison, by the way. So yeah, so you apply it to something and then you smack something.
Yeah, it's intravenous, not contact.
Okay, so what was the highest search made?
Got a 15.
Beats me.
Okay, you're messing around in the old kiln and find a bracelet wrapped in an old rag.
Protection from heat.
Take it out and have a look at it.
This simple gold chain clasped around the wrist. It's quite pretty.
You got any markings or insignia?
No, it's a simple gold chain with a clasp. It's quite heavy, though, so it's got quite a bit of gold in it.
Anybody got to detect magic?
Yep.
I've got the praise skill, if that's helpful.
I've got to detect magic, so I come to the door and have a look round.
I've got an appraise skill as well. Not very good, but I've got an appraise skill.
I'll do detect magic, guys.
Yeah, it looks fake to me. I get 6.
Yeah, you think it's just some kind of cheap base metal with a little bit of gold oil on the outside.
Detect magic is one of my level 0s. Dave, could you grab a level 0 token from me? And I have a good look round the area. I assume from here I can see into the forge area. And
The corridor goes on a bit further. I'm not going to.
Firstly, I'll have a look at Scorpion Body, and then and the room outside. Then I'll just walk in and I'll just have a good look around in this area for magic.
Jestix, weren't you going to make an appraise?
I did. I got 7, so it's lead.
It's pretty. Maybe Freya will like it.
Oh, I like it, but it's lead.
It goes ping with faint magic.
Freya likes that.
You have to make a spellcrafting roll to figure out
18 rolls for 23.
faint divination.
Divination. So that's going to be detect something or other. Divination is generally fairly safe. I'm going to try it.
Hang on. It's in my hand. You don't get to try it just by saying I'm going to try it.
Sorry, I thought you said it's lead. Freya would like it.
No, that was Dave said it's lead. Freya would like it.
Oh, okay. In which case, I pointed out and said, yes, it's definitely magic.
Magic, eh? I'll take a closer look. Well, maybe that gold isn't all the gold or isn't lead all the way through.
No, precisely. So you say it's a divination. Could be anything. Have we got any way of knowing?
Yes, but that would take me quite a while. Yeah, that would take a little bit of research. I can try my best to determine more about it, but I suspect we want to crack on. Unless you want to. Do you want me to take some time now?
No.
If you were to do an identify spell, which I don't got,
I haven't got an identify spell. I have to.
what you can do is you can and ah about it, and if you get, say, a really, really, really high knowledge arcana roll, you might be able to go, oh, I recognise that. It's
May I investigate it for a moment or two while we're walking along, suggesting?
Yeah, and I'm quite happy if we're to go to somebody who can actually have some use from it.
Whilst the boys push on, I will stay back by the door with the mule, and I'll give it a damn good. Yeah, I'll have an and ah about it as you.
well, just roll a knowledge arcana.
I think they're going to probably discover something before I do. So I suspect it's Wolf and Lomerel's turn.
Which way are you going, guys? Are you going to search at these doors, or are you going to continue down the corridor?
Search the other doors, I think.
We're not going to go through this room then.
No, we've got two other doors here, out of here first.
Behind us.
Okay, which door?
Next one along.
There. Door is not locked. This door is locked.
Before you get concentrating on the bracelet,
You need me over there.
try and unlock the door.
Yep. Somebody just roll a d20.
Yep.
It's only a +4.
18.
That'll I'm going to use those die rolling surfaces again.
You were lucky because it rolled off a 1.
That doesn't open.
Very simple lock is a DC 20.
Bloody hell! I'm going to have to get better at this. I'm not very good at this.
Well, I think the purpose of it is if you take 20, get past it, but
You will set the trap off.
yeah.
Did you add your +2 for the Masterwork Toolkit?
Oh, I didn't. Forgot that one.
So you still failed.
Guys, this is very solid. It'll take me a while. So I've got two things that'll take me a while. And it's also a metal-bound door, isn't it? So it's going to take a lot of kicking in.
No, this is only a wooden door, but it has got a bloody good lock on it.
Well, tell you what, why don't you look at the door and I'll look at the magic item, see if I can figure it out.
Okay, and Lomeril can look at his books.
And I'll twiddle my thumbs.
You've got some tiger cubs to feed. You can play with the kittens.
Unfortunately, I haven't had enough time to learn the spell I need for them. And it doesn't help any of you in the slightest. And I can make them all my friends, but they can't make them your friends.
No, I don't care about them being effectively our friends yet, just as long as they live. Okay, I'm going to take 20.
They probably would be actually paying some attention to the dead scorpion at this moment in time.
I'll break off some bits and feed them.
You are allowing them to roam a bit.
It's just a bit like land lobster, really, isn't it? As long as they don't eat the poisonous bits, they should be fine.
Yeah, I'll break off some bits of scorpion and feed them scorpion.
They're quite happy with that. Go on then, Howard.
I take 20.
Take 20, which your total would be?
24. Oh, no, with a masterwork, 26.
Unfortunately, it still doesn't unlock, and that takes you 2 or 3 minutes.
Bloody hell, this is solid.
An average lock is 25.
I'm just not a good enough lockpick for this bloody thing. We're going to have to kick this one in. Could actually, after all that, is it locked?
Yes, it's locked.
Okay, so I'm there playing lock.
So, Wolf, you've got the chain. You're flicking it around, thinking, are you sure this is valuable? What are you going to do with it?
Okay, I'm going to use a bardic knowledge check to reveal the powers of a magic item. Well, not to reveal the powers of the magic item, but make it a hint.
Ooh.
So I'm going to check it over, use my bardic knowledge skill to see if I can glean anything further.
The omnipresent I know everything bard skills.
That's the one.
So, Pete?
Guess I better roll a d20 and see what I get.
Yeah.
It is made of lead, I tell you.
It's obviously got some kind of illusion on it, which is making Freya think that it's valuable.
I whisper to the monk that I think Freya's lost it. It is cheap tat. There is nothing noteworthy about this whatsoever. No, I don't know what this is. It is nothing.
In which case, I'll put it in my pocket to say, quite this trinket to be sold when we get home.
Well, Freya can have a look if she...
If she ever opens the door, then I'll think about it.
Now we're going to have to kick this one in, guys. The locks on this room have been well made and well forged. I know roughly what lockpicking's about, but...
There's a big hammer in the forge, isn't there?
Beyond.
Yep.
I use the big hammer to smash open the door at the weakest point.
And I stand back and cover him, ready to fire at anything coming through to attack him.
I think we're going through this door, aren't we?
Yeah.
I should make a strength check with a forge hammer. First blow doesn't do it. Probably nor does the second. Third blow will do it if it's going to be done.
I'm keeping an eye on the other door just in case all this noise attracts another denizen out.
You smash the area around where the lock is, and there is a zoom. It's similar sort of size as the one there. There is an exit to it. Looks like this was a workshop with a grind wheel, a potter's wheel, and stuff like that, and some crates. There is no creature here.
Okay, we'll saunter in, have a look around, and look at the crates, see if there's what's in them.
I'll saunter in afterwards.
There'd be a room. The light shines past that into another room. This room is, as I said, full of a workbench, a large grinding stone, a potter's wheel, a table, cupboards, rusty tools, empty storage crates. What are you doing?
Guarding? No.
You're guarding. Freya, you going in, or is Justix going in?
I will follow Wolf in and start exploring. I will take care to thank Mr. Lomeril for his attentive guarding. I think at this stage we will write off all of the loan. You have earned it in spades. We're now just equal partners in exploring this dungeon. Thank you for your kind service, Mr. Lomeril. Only so much I can expect of you for 30 gold, and you risked your life 3 times. I would say that's probably about right. If you wish to continue, you're doing it on your own recognizance.
That's a very good point. It's been about time.
Just on this side of the door is a hook, and on that hook is a large ring with 3 keys.
I think that'd be a very useful resource for. We're struggling with some of these door locks. They're not my speciality. Noting that, I keep searching, as I'm sure the Justix and Wolf.
Looking around the room, it's on one of the tops of the table, you find some high-quality looking stone working kit and a magnifying glass.
I don't have craft stone, but the magnifying glass could be bloody useful. No one else has a better use for it.
Just behind the door, Pete, is a hook with a key ring on it with 3 keys.
Take that then.
And there are some nice-looking stone-working tools and a magnifying glass which Freya's just picked up.
You've got stoneworking tools, I'm not a stonemason.
When you look over towards this area, you'll notice that there is a deep drop.
Okay, wander over there, play down. What's the cause of the downness?
A large pit, 80-odd foot.
It's a large pit.
There is a large pit, yeah.
Piles of rubbish at the bottom.
Sounds been Ossiog down there.
And who knows how many magic items? Or an easy way to level 2 the dungeon.
I doubt it. Peer down there. Can we see anything at the bottom of this pit, or is it too far away?
It's too far away.
Chanty, light spell on stone. Chuck the stone down.
Okay. There's garbage. Looks to you like people have been throwing down old tables and junk. There doesn't appear to be anything shiny down there, or anything moving.
I've got no interest in going down there.
Can roll a search roll just while you're...
14.
Yes, it's reasonably obvious to you that there is a room that you can see just round the corner.
What, where that green hand is right now?
Yeah.
Peer into the room from sort of around the corner without falling down the pit.
Or conversely, you could go and open the other door.
Yep, with the keys you just picked up.
Since I'm there.
Yes, you can just about see into the room, and you can see that there is a room there with, the lights and everything else. You just about make out there is a room there.
Do I hear the clackety-clack of?
No, it's a silent room.
Well, I guess we go to that door then.
So, is there anything else we find? Are those tools masterwork or anything valuable? Can someone do an appraise on them? Yeah, are they actually worth loading up on the mule and taking out of here for value?
Praise roll. I believe you get +2 from using a magnifying glass.
For small objects, I guess it might count. I don't know.
I don't have appraise, I don't think. So one of the other characters does. Oh no, I do have an
15 on an appraise roll.
Oh, they look masterwork quality.
Well, we'll throw them on the mule for selling later, unless anyone wants masterwork stonemasonry tools.
Yeah, I'll find a door for something.
Yeah, exactly.
The plan is...
Door.
Okay.
Unlock.
It's not locked. It's opened. And it's a room pretty much the same sort of size as the one you was in, except it's bare.
I cover him as he opens the door.
What's in the room?
Just empty. But it's just got another entrance to this pit.
It's a very big room to be empty. I'll just check out that wall towards AOM, in case I think that there is any secret or concealed doors. There's been a lot of those before.
Roll.
That's the way I roll.
I'll stand in the corner with the arms across.
Are you going to take 10 and just walk down the wall?
Yeah, I'll take 10. The boys are used to being bored with me. Yeah, that is my normal mode. Initially, it looks like a bloody useless thing, but I like the idea of just keeping them all waiting.
Okay, so you take 10, go along here, yeah?
Yeah.
What's your take 10?
15.
Laura Mill, what are you doing?
Following him around.
So, Pete, you're very quiet.
Following him around.
Okay, you find, about halfway down, a concealed panel.
I call everyone over and sort of I check it for traps quickly, and then I step back, cover it, and say, "One of the boys want to open that for me."
I'll yank it open.
Okay. While he's thinking about that, you just move over, they yank it open. It's a small niche, and in it is 100 foot of silk rope, tightly bound.
Ha ha ha. Just to sort of then not to get to the bottom of the pit.
Well, I suggest, as long as we all know we can all use it when we need to, Mr. Lomber.
Well, as I said, it's just enough to get to the bottom of the pit.
Shall we explore the bottom of the pit?
No, I'm not going to go squelching around in a pit.
Oh, why not?
But there's doors and corridors to examine first, surely.
Lower the dome down.
Actually, between the three of you, you could easily lower me down, and my climbing is not great because I'm very small and weak. So yes, if you want to lower me down, I'll have a look with the with the torch. Just not all the way to the bottom. And if I yell up, let's go up.
Yeah.
3 guys and a mule on the end of the rope. I test the rope first, and then they can lower me down.
Okay, no problems. That's a reasonable plan. You get lowered down part of the way. You don't see anything obvious. Are you searching the wall as you go down, sort of thing?
Yes.
Roll me a search for each, 20 foot you go down.
Okay, first 10 feet. Any bonuses on this?
What light have you got, Howard?
I got low light vision and a hooded lantern. So the first one's 21.
Okay, just as a point of order, this is a 20 foot by 20 foot pit, but I'm not going to put the rest of it on, okay? You get lowered down. Your first search is?
21.
Find nothing.
Hopefully it means there's nothing much to find. I'm not going to do an awful lot better than that. The second one is a 19.
Nope. So you're about halfway down now.
Third one is an 11.
No, you don't see anything.
Oh, at last, a 25, a natural 20, as I get towards the bottom.
Okay, while you're basically hovering above the pit of all sorts of horrible junk that's been thrown down here, and some of it is rotting, some of it looks like it's been here an awfully long time, you can see the corpse of what looks like a halfling, but it's the shiny thing on his finger which makes you notice him. But he's also wearing, although the body is rotting,
Yeah.
He seems to be wearing some kind of leather armour which seems to have resisted rotting.
Oh, golly, yes. This is likely to want to fit me. Gentlemen, there's something down here. I am looking to see if there's anything alive in this rotting pile of ordure.
There does appear to be some flies buzzing around.
Understandable.
Rotting kind of little maggoty type stuff, but basically nothing else.
I'm not going to be any better than searching than that, so I am going to go down. Oh, I assume I've got a few feet of rope, wrapped around me, and there's a bit of extra. I am going to try and tie. Okay, how rotten is he? Is he going to fall apart, or can we move him?
Oh, I think you need to do a rope use.
Basically, can I tie him to the lower part of the rope and then have him fall up?
Yeah, I mean, if you make a good rope check, I'll say that you managed to get it around something not where he doesn't fall to bits.
Okay, do have used rope, so that's good. Not very good at it.
Are you currently injured?
No, I'm fully up to rope, and my used rope was 19.
Okay, yes, I'll say you managed to loop it round a securely part of the body.
Haul me up, guys! There's 2 of us. So he's 5 or 6 feet below me on the rope, and we then haul up very gently. If the shiny ring on his finger, just make sure we don't lose that. I pocket it on the securely on the way up.
That would require some kind of balance check, I think, for you to do that.
In which case, no.
I'm not being mean. It's quite a bit below you, and you've got to kind of like hold on to a lantern, and after all, you're not quite doing a Mission Impossible.
I think between 3 of them, they can drag one small female gnome up.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah, I bring them up and I show them the halfling body. I point out the fact that it wasn't rotted. It wasn't rotten.
I think we probably should have had a rope check just to see how securely you were tied on, shouldn't we? Don't roll a 1.
We'll take a 10 on that and we'll test it,
exactly.
surely.
Okay, right, you get it back up.
So we've got a dead hobbit, huh?
Yep.
Look, the armour hasn't rotted, and he's got a shiny thing on his finger, both of which interest me greatly. Coupled with the fact he was obviously an adventurer, had a bit of a problem. I'm already filthy. I'll search his body.
I suggest you take off whatever you want to take off, and then we go and burn his body or something, whilst the priest does something, priesty over his body.
We say something nice about him and kick him back down the hole.
Have knowledge religion.
Alas, poor Frodo, he did not survive the fall.
Or a real knowledge religion to just do some kind of something appropriate, or role play something appropriate if you wish, Pete.
Sorry?
Roll knowledge religion to do a last rites over this person, or just role play.
I'll do a roll. Oh, little thing. You died in horror and terror in this nasty dungeon, but that's all right. We'll shrive that from you now and take it upon ourselves. 23.
Yes, so you feel like his mortal soul has probably been put to rest, and then you probably turf his body back into the pit.
Burn his body. That's the warrior way of doing things.
Was he a warrior?
Well, he's not a warrior. He's got leather armor. He's not a warrior.
Put on him other than leather armor and a ring. Any nice weaponry? A dagger?
Everything else has fallen to bits
Let
over
me
time.
guess them.
Okay.
There's a hobbit and there's a ring.
It's a silver ring with a sapphire.
It's not the ring, because if it's the ring, he wouldn't have found it. His body would still be invisible.
Also, it's not gold.
I get a piece of old tapestry from somewhere, clean myself up, clean up the armor, and could that armor fit?
It's a small size, so yes, it could.
Are you sure you want to wear that?
I think you'd probably want to clean it with prestidigitation.
Also, let's have a look at the ring. It's kind of glowing rather obviously, and it does have a small sapphire on it. I love it dearly.
Appraise rolls?
Well, gentlemen, I think some of your appraise rolls might be better than mine. Please feel free to use this fantastic magnifying glass to see if it works. It gives you +2 appraise on small items.
All right, let's give it a go.
15.
I got 1 rank in appraise.
I've got 2.
Okay, so the party sits around studying rings.
13.
It's probably worth around 50 gold.
As a ring, but
Is it magic?
we don't know. And as a gold ring, it wasn't going to degrade or rot away because it doesn't.
It's a silver ring.
Okay, has it turned black?
Ooh, that's a very good question. Yes, it's tainted.
So
Unlikely to be magic.
Tainted or tarnished?
Tarnished is the word I was looking for, Pete. Thank you.
just a small difference.
Prestidigitation is. I have an innate spell. I will prestidigitate myself, and it clean. I'll clean up everything that got dirty down that rank pit.
Is there a maximum amount of cleanage it can do, Pete?
It says minor trick.
I don't know. Lasts for an
Duration.
hour.
Clean items of 1 cubic foot each round. It can chill warm. It cannot deal damage. It can create small items. So that's interesting.
I'm small. I've got up to an hour. I clean myself until myself, all my kit, and this armor are pristine.
Tinkling of ethereal music. Hello, glowing walls. There's quite a whole raft of little things you can do it. Spice up the aromas and flavours of bland food. Make little winds. Yes, okay.
Dancing lights are similar.
It takes it a little while to carefully clean it, but it achieves it. And it's quite a nice suit of leather armour.
Is it specifically more robust than normal armor? We'll try it out gently. I don't have to be inside it to try it out.
You stand there and get one of our fighters to stab you with the sword.
Repeatedly.
How nice of you guys.
Power attack.
Yeah, just hold still.
I don't think I've actually got any armor.
If you wear armour, then you will have to roll for every spell you cast.
Yes.
Otherwise, it will fail.
Unless you get a special edge.
I thought there was an amount of armor I could wear.
No, as a spellcaster,
Not for you.
It's only on arcane spells. Divine spells are for some reason not affected.
But there is an edge which allows you to wear, reduces your failure chance.
Regular leather armor is 10% failure spell chance. Studded leather is 15.
It is studded leather armour.
so you've got a 15 chance of spell failure if you wear it.
How do you do 15% on a d20?
1, 2, 3. So, is anyone going to wear it?
Well, I can't. A, too small, and B, it's armour.
Yes.
I've already got armour that provides a better armour class, so no.
And I suspect Lorimer's the same, so it's pretty much
I'm too big.
the gnome or the gnome.
I try it on in case there's a point where I need it. Does it work? Does it fit? Does it work?
Oh, yes.
Is it cursed?
Is it cursed?
You can take it off again.
That's a good start.
Does she run towards a pit screaming, going, ah?
Does she turn bright orange? No.
Okay, we put it on the party treasure mule. God, I love this mule.
Where are you next going to head off to so that I can start thinking about which part of the map I'm going to move?
This door over here.
Yeah,
Which door?
the door in the room 1
That one.
with the furnace.
Yep, I'm still very keen to get back to room 7. Let's go. You're entirely right. It is close. The one in the furnace room is closest. And there's also a corridor, but
Room 7.
It's quite easy to bash down the door, so
Well, it's mostly bashed down already.
yes, I'll give you a small description in a second.
I do settle in and enjoy watching Jegestic's cat herding as he tries to get the babies off the body and ends up backloaded in their sack.
I quite like the idea of having a baby lion, so yeah, I'll try to befriend mine. I do actually have handle animal as a skill, so I will try not to irritate them too much.
Yeah, so we get them out as often as we can, but yeah, they do have to go back in the sack somehow.
You basically have to handle kittens from an early age if you want them to be friendly.
Well, that's handy then, isn't it?
Cats that have not had that from almost the moment they open their eyes, they're the ones who are skittish.
I was just planning at some point to cast Charm Animal on mine.
Yes, well, you want yours to be a friend, don't you?
Yep, a willing friend.
Okay, there is a square room.
I stand back 10, 15 feet and cover them best angle with my crossbow as they open.
The room is dark and silent, so your light is the only thing.
I will approach and illuminate.
This chamber appears empty except for a massive, stylized lion face carved from stone glaring down from the high ceiling. The eyes appear to be glistening jewels.
You've got a thing about lions. Very quiet. Okay, I make sure there's enough light so we can see if there was anything lurking in the shadows, and then we can go in.
Yeah.
There doesn't seem to be anything in the room.
Kind of aware that Wolf is least able to see in the shadows, and so I'm looking so if he's missed anything, I can forewarn him.
So Wolf goes in. Freya, you going in? Sorry.
Yeah, I'm going in.
So you two go in. The room is quite bare. Are you doing anything like searching it, or?
Once we know it's safe and empty and I'm not attacked, I'm searching like a searchy thing.
Okay.
And I'm just searching randomly like normal.
Okay.
We did ask this, didn't we? Wolf, you don't use a sword at all, do you?
Axe.
We asked, but you don't use a sword as a backup for those moments when the axe isn't quite the right tool for the trade. You're just pure axe, are you?
I've never heard of that situation.
Okay, just checking, because we picked up a couple of apparently quite good swords earlier, so if you needed one. But
No, I'll stick with just what I've got for now. Otherwise, the sword will put me over the edge and I'll teeter into mediumly encumbered. And I wouldn't want that.
What sort of diligent level of searching are you doing? Are you wandering around? So some of you are just wandering around, so we'll have a couple of wander around rolls.
Yeah, I got 13, so I find nothing.
I'm diligent search because I want to see what the jewels in this thing's eyes look like, as well as everything else. So I'm doing a full 20. So that's I don't know why I bothered rolling.
There's probably a spot for the lion head.
Yeah.
Because
Oh, my spot is fucking crap. It's a 1, but I take 20 on the search.
Okay, so you're going to take 20 on searching just the lion head from the distance.
Walking around and examining, and if I have my little magnifying glass, which I love dearly, then I will use that too. I am searching the whole room
Okay.
until the boys drag me out of my head.
But the point is, you can't actually search the lion head because it's in the ceiling and you're short.
How high is the ceiling?
15, 20 feet, like all the others.
She was on my shoulders. Would she be a better chance?
No, all the rooms are quite high, 15 foot high.
What weight can an unseen servant?
Not enough to lift you.
yeah, that the point of things like a levitate spell.
I'm pretty sure it's a pound or something. It's not a lot.
Unseen servant is equally low.
It's not up to the job.
If you have floating disc, then maybe.
Well, yeah, the floating disc is one of the ones I was looking at.
Fortunately, for floating disc, you can't actually make it go higher or lower.
And they don't have the spell anyway.
Yeah, we're not high enough level.
Wolf, what did you get on your just random search?
5.
Okay, Jestix got a low-ish value as well, didn't you?
Yeah, 13.
I believe, Laura Mill, you're probably going to sit down and start reading your book.
Yeah.
How heavy is Freya?
43 pounds.
Okay, more than double the Unseen Servant encumbrance.
Damn, you have to lose some weight.
And I don't think it can fly either.
No.
Right, so, Laura Mill, your hour-long reading of the book, find out that it's a prayer book to the goddess Glarias or Glarias or something, the moon goddess, which was the fountain, it's not a fountain, the big moon room. Remember at the top here?
Yep.
It's a prayer book for her.
Oh,
Okay.
she's not a bad goddess, is she?
Knowledge, religion, what's your bonus, Pete?
It's +4.
Okay, your initial reaction was that she's one of those horrible pagan gods, must be bad, because the only thing you really know about her is that the Duke of Cordial followed that goddess, so she must be evil. Okay?
Was the Duke evil?
Allegedly, yes. He was defeated by the good guys, and his castle was ruined. You're in the dungeon which partly was created by him below. But reading this book, something's particularly odd because it's more like it's a good goddess. She's a good goddess. She, although, the moon, obviously the moon is evil, and all that sort of stuff is your initial reactions. But, I mean, you follow the moon.
She's been misrepresented.
It's definitely, you think, there's definitely been misrepresented. This is not an evil goddess. Maybe neutral, but certainly not evil. Maybe chaotic, but no, there's nothing evil in this book at all.
All those pages have been torn out.
Mr. Lomeril, is that prayer book any interest and value to you? Is it something you wish to keep?
Yeah, I'll keep hold of it for now.
I
I'm not
cast a
sure.
small mending on it so it doesn't fall apart while he reads it.
Well, no, you're searching the room, Howard. That's while you're searching.
When I get a chance.
Howard, you've basically, Freya finds absolutely nothing until she starts searching the flagstones in the middle of the room, close to, underneath the lion.
Yep, this is where the staircase comes up from below to allow you to access it. This is why diligent searching helps.
This 10-foot by 10-foot area here, yeah, see what I'm marking out?
Is a trap.
There is very slight gap between the flagstones all the way around.
Magnificent. Gentlemen, there's something here. Yeah, I pointed out. I am going to investigate, and I'm afraid it's going to take a little time.
Jump up and down on the flagstone.
Just so you can see it. I was hoping for a smaller one.
Works well.
You're taking 20, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, this is...
Okay, so Freya basically points out there's a crack and going all the way around the room, and I believe you both said, I'll jump up and down on it.
I try to say no.
He does.
I don't think I will actually stop him, but I will at least try to say no.
Well, once you say, oh, look, there's something here, maybe it raises up or something, and somebody else is there.
That's what I did say. Look, perhaps...
You're not a dwarf, are you?
No, I'm not a dwarf. But I do have low wisdom.
Yes, give me a balance roll.
Balance?
Balance.
It's not one you wheel out very often.
There's a reason for it.
Balance.
You're not going to fall off anything, don't worry about it.
This is the easiest way of detecting
19.
traps I've ever come across.
Okay, so did you actually have any bonus in it?
Yeah, got +2, so 19.
Okay, your finely tuned balance tells you that there's a slight wobble, that flagstone isn't quite firmly on the ground. Yeah, you're not going to fall over it. It's only a tiny, imperceptible movement.
It's rocking a bit. Right, let's lever it up then, shall we?
Now, while you're thinking, let's get a crowbar, I don't have a crowbar, Freya, over here, has found a tiny little stone disguised right in the crack leading away, which she moves, and there is like a little tiny button.
Going to activate whatever it is.
Oh.
Mr. Lomeril, ideal place by the door if we need to be saved. Have you got your 100-foot rope ready just in case? Click.
Okay, so is everyone where they currently are on the map?
Yep, I am.
Right next to the pit. Ready to jump on or jump off, as the case may be.
I would say right by the door with a 100-foot rope is an ideal place to be, just in case. Your call. I'm not that officious. Yes, actually, I am.
Okay.
Okay. It unclips from the floor and levitates up.
Oh, I jump on top.
It squashes you flat against the ceiling.
Jump off again. It's heading towards the gems. A, I love the pretty bangles, and B, I want the pretty bangles.
The slab itself is about 3 inches thick, and it's hovering about 3 inches above the ground.
Only 3 inches.
Yeah, so it's now about 6 inches off the ground. So the top is now 6 inches up.
Which is not much, but another way of moving it.
I'll step on as well.
Okay, well, how heavy are you? We know Freya's 50 or something, isn't it?
I'm 43 plus about 18 of kit.
Well, me and Kit, just shy of 240.
Yeah, it wobbles slightly when you get on board, and leaning slightly, fractionally in your direction.
Try and find other methods of getting it to crank up and down.
So you get off, do you?
I'll get off.
Okay, well, you found nothing else in the room.
I have a look round carefully. So it just goes, what's underneath it?
There's a whole...
I command, I say up while standing on it. I try to lift myself up at the same time, as one does.
Roll a d10.
Who? Me?
Yeah.
9.
It moves west at a very fast speed. West is towards Gestics. Oh, sorry, not Gestics. Very fast towards that wall there.
Does it crash into the wall?
Character on the platform must make a reflexes save, or they fall off. Oh, sorry, fly off.
21.
If they don't fly off, they still have to make a balance check, or fall off when the wall is struck.
17.
Okay, you fall off, but you don't hurt yourself.
I'm thinking about my arcane stuff and also use magic device. Up. How does that translate to west or across any languages? So see if I can. If those limited clues give me a clue as to how to use. I do have use magic device, and I have a tiny knowledge arcana.
Roll your knowledge arcana.
Is anyone else investigating or?
Yeah, I'll debate the issue with you as well. Oh, I don't have knowledge arcana, though. I do have use magic device.
You could roll that as well.
I'm going to go and stand outside.
Yes, this could get dangerous.
Probably not. I only got a 9 on that.
Oh, so that's 21.
Okay, it reminds you of kind of floating disc thing,
Tensor.
something like that, where you can basically think to go in a direction that goes in a direction.
I've been thinking about taking that spell. So okay, my balance is awful.
So I believe you've fallen off, Wolf, and it's currently here.
And
I shall stand off to one side.
I will stand on it, ready to jump off if it goes completely berserk, and I will think to move slowly back into the centre.
I'm going to exit out of the room, but watch from a safe distance, because having just seen what just happened, you don't need a second person in there.
This is going to hurt. I try to get it to move back to its normal position.
Okay, it flips upside down, dumping the person on the floor. A reflex save allows the person to hang on, but actually it doesn't really matter to you because you're not very high. And then it forcibly comes down upon you. So you must make a reflexes 15, otherwise basically the stone thing comes slam down on you.
Bloody hell, it's a very unpleasant thing.
It's cursed.
Fortunately, I do have a reflexes saving throw, but this is going to hurt, because if I don't get it right, that's not good, that's a 9.
Okay, you get 2d6 damage. 7 points of damage. Then it flips back.
This thing's cursed, it actively tries to hurt you. I go and click it button ready to dodge clear to see if it returns to its place.
Yes, it floats back and clunks back into the floor.
I swear at it. Curse.
Was there anything underneath it? Was it like a pit? Or
It was just a pit which is 3 inches deep, and it fits snugly into it.
I suspect that there is a way of making that go up to the top, but it's going to be very, very painful finding out what it is.
And even if you could, I suspect you'll find it'll go to the top and stop 2 inches away from the ceiling.
It'll crush you against the top, yes. Exactly. It'll be very painful finding out what it is. I'm going to come and sit over here and get my wind back, because I've just been crushed by a rock. Ouch, ouch, ouch. But those gems in the lion's head do look very good.
Oh, yes.
Well, unfortunately, we've no way of getting up there.
we can form a human pyramid, or at least a pyramid anyway, a people pyramid.
The first person who's just throwing the gnome gets my dagger in the nether regions.
Well, maybe you're at the top of the pyramid.
I don't mind being at the top of the pyramid then. 15 feet, is it? That's actually quite a distance, but because each of you guys, that would be 2 at the bottom, then Jestix, that gets, and then me climbing up all of you.
Yeah, so how to get a TPK? Unless some of us at some point get a fly spell.
Or a levitate for that matter.
There are boxes we can pile up and climb up those.
Yes, there are boxes, right?
I look at the dragon's head. Does it have big teeth?
Lion's head.
Lion's head.
Yes.
Okay, could we lasso a tooth and have someone pull the rope tight to it might not be if are the teeth
They mesh together. It's not a
saber tooth.
You'd also need to have, I would think, a grappling hooky type thing of the right size, and then you'd need to make probably an extremely good used rope roll.
Yeah, this is my theory, is that actually you do something like a lasso and pull it backwards against the tooth. Well, just thinking out the box.
Okay, so what's the plan, guys?
Well, unless we want to go and get the boxes, I think we walk away.
Yeah, why don't we come back to that one after we've done some other bits?
Yeah, a bit like the glass lantern. When we find a glass or something to go in there, then we'll carry on. How about, okay, so it's either going to be down the corridor right next to us or back over to the wonderful magical item.
Down the corridor.
Down the corridor.
Dave,
Could go to the beholder room.
That's where Howard wants to go, but I don't think the party want to go there.
I'm desperate to go and explore that, but there are still 2 doors which we saw from the very first room we ever went in.
Yep.
3 doors, in fact. The one with the pool in.
Corridor comes to a T-junction. Directly opposite is a door. What's the party marching order?
I guess I go towards the front, or out the front.
Yep.
And then probably Laura Mill.
Lights shining down the corridor. You can make a notice spot roll.
14. So 13. Even worse spot than the paladin.
Spot 17.
Mine is a 12. Get out of the way, you're too big, I can't see past you. Oof, ouch. I'm still hurting.
Fumbling this way at this moment in time is a smaller scorpion, and it notices you lot at the same time, so it's initiative time. So who made a 10? It's reasonably obvious. Anyone make a 10 on their spot?
Yep.
Yep.
No.
Freya isn't at. Wolf gets initiative of
11.
Scorpion 6. Jestix.
3.
Pete seems to have disappeared. Are we going to roll for him?
Yep.
Need to do a spot for him too. Character sheets here.
Well, he gets a 12 plus whatever his spot is, so he spots it.
Yeah, he's got +7 on spot.
Wow, he's pretty good at that.
Yeah, it's based on wisdom.
He gets a 4 plus whatever his
So he goes on 5. So though he spots the creature. Okay, so first to go. There is a smaller version of the mummy-sized scorpion there.
I stomp forwards and take a swing with the axe. I'm going to power attack it.
I would be kind of behind Lomeril, but there's not enough room to put my character.
I'm going to miss, probably.
You missed, do you?
8.
That's a miss.
I would agree. I rolled fully.
Okay, next to go would be the scorpion, which will, as it's got the opportunity, it will do Claw Sting. You're the obvious target.
Wish I had better wisdom.
Yes, and it rolls a 5, so that's probably going to hit you.
5 hits you.
No, and it gets a 2, so it's going to miss you. Followed by its sting, which is going to be +3, 14. Which is not going to hit you, is it?
AC 14, no, it doesn't hit.
So it tries to claw you, whatever, and sting you, misses you.
and then it's Lomeril.
Yeah.
Who will probably run and join the fight,
Yes, step forward and talk it.
getting a 13 plus whatever his fighting is.
You've got the lantern, haven't you?
I usually carry the lantern, yeah.
Okay, so you're not in dim light. So 14, you said.
13 plus whatever his fighting is.
His longsword is +4. No, Masterwork's longsword is +5.
18.
5, eh? That's pretty good.
That's a hit.
What's his damage?
Is a D8 +2.
5.
His base melee is +3, and he's got a strength of +2.
No, his base melee is +1. He's got base attack of +1, +2 strength for 3, and then +1 masterwork longsword 4.
He's got the weapon specialisation plus weapon focus, or whatever it is.
A weapon focus. Oh, right, crikey.
So he's
Good
quite
film.
good with that sword then.
Yeah.
Surprising how often he misses with it, really.
So he's done 5 points of damage. Then it's Jestix
Yes. Is there space for me to get in there?
to go all the way round to the back, which probably is going to take you a whole round to get there.
In which case I'll go all the way round to the back.
It's quite quick.
What's your move?
My move, that's the question.
You're a monk, I'd forgotten about that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can you go through Laurel Square?
Yeah, you can. easily.
But it will present an attack of opportunity if you did it that way.
My walk speed is 30.
So it's 6 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you could make it, but it's still, I reckon, an attack of opportunity.
I'll go slightly farther around so it doesn't get an attack of opportunity.
And then you won't be able to do an attack.
Yeah, that's fine.
So run and then get round the corner.
Yep, okay, that's perfectly reasonable. Freya can't act, so it's beginning in the next round, and Freya, roll your initiative.
My initiative, I rolled with everybody else, and it was a 1, so my initiative is 3.
So you're...
Same as me.
You've probably got a higher dex than Jestix, so I'll let you go just in front of her. So, Wolf.
I get +2 now. So 17, 19 to hit.
That's a hit. Is that still power attack?
Yeah, but it's a power attack when you're first level in 3.5, so it's slightly different. So it's not particularly effective, but I do get an extra +2, basically. 7 damage.
It's still there, and it goes. So we've now got Wolf, Loromil, or Jestix. I think it'll carry on attacking you. Well, actually, no, it'll do 2 claw attacks against you, and then we'll randomly sting somebody. I would imagine that 14 misses you, and 6 misses you.
If I were it, I would retreat a foot down the corridor and make them all face you from the front.
But it's an animal, it's not clever.
It's not smart enough. We've got an animal intelligence, and they can't be bothered to give it a value.
Yeah, it's usually between 2 and 4, but
Yeah, it's not going to be clever enough to think of that.
It's just got food in front of it.
Yeah. I mean, there are creatures that do run away when they're injured, but I don't think a scorpion would.
Not a 5-foot scorpion, no.
So I would say odds it goes for Loramil. And that would be a miss, I would think, because it's -3 on its stinger, so misses. Okay, so next to go, Loramil.
11 plus 5, 16.
Hit.
9 damage.
Dead.
Get a bit more scorpion feed to the tigers.
Okay, the passageway this way opens out a bit, okay? And the passageway continues this way a bit. I'll just fill in the rest of the passageway that way, okay?
Okay.
But that's the only thing. There's now a dead creature on the floor. That's the only thing.
Is that a door ahead of us?
Yes, a large door.
I wander carefully down the corridor, just doing a search, not taking attention, and head towards the door.
Which way are you going to search? Which way?
I'm going straight south.
You're searching down here as you come.
Where I am, I'm just having a damn good look at the walls and corridors and things, just in case. And then I'm going to go and have a look at the door.
On your take 10, you see nothing now.
Are we stopping there for the night?
We don't have to.
I think Peter's already...
Pete's left us.
We've lost Pete, so a bit unfair to carry on without, but...
We missed him saying goodnight.
Yeah.
He could have done.
He was very quiet this evening.
Or his internet went.
Yeah, I agree. It's he should be here.
Yeah, let me just put in the last bit here and of the map, and I'll tell you.
I suggest we go down where the thing came from.
There's a passageway going that way. I'll put in the expanding part next time. This dark, dank corridor smells of mould. The walls occasionally boast an interesting stone of bluish hue here and there, but on closer inspection, it's just some kind of slimy coating, probably better left alone. The way is dark. Anyone who is listening can hear a faint clicking sound from this direction. Okay?
Both directions.
Both directions there are more clicking sounds.
Mummy had lots of kids.
Tasty adventurers. For next time I'll fill in the other part of the map over here. Okay? So I assume you're going to hover around in this. Are you thinking that you might go through this door?
No, let's go and clear out some scorpions.
Or harass scorpions?
We're not going to go through that door whilst we can still hear scorpions who might block our exit.
Okay, just in case you spotted, there is another door. There is a door there, and there's a passageway. You could probably see this passageway goes on a bit further than that, actually. Your bullseye lantern shines a bit further down here. You can see this passageway going that way, and this room opens out.
Out where the brown hand is. It goes down and opens out.
It opens out there.
Understood.
And the corridor turns here.
We'll press on.
Okay, so that'll be next time. And just in case Howard missed it, there was a door just there, as well as the one. Right, guys, it's just possible I'll check that everybody but Pete might have made it to the next level. Yes, unfortunately, you're 2 sessions behind Pete.
Well, you see, I came in, obviously, with the same amount of XP by just sheer coincidence as everybody else.
Nah.
It will balance out very quickly because we're only about 1,000 ahead of you.
It will make irrelevant a difference. You'll probably be a session behind everybody for the first upgrade, that's all I mean.
Feel hard done by.
Well, then you didn't have to accept the almost total party kill.
Dave, just because it's one of those, if you don't
True.
say it, it doesn't happen. I go back and recover my bolts, broken or otherwise, so that I don't start running low.
And so ends session 4 of the Dragon's Delve exploration. Join us next time as the adventure continues.